Hello and welcome to another Magic the Gathering unboxing. So this is the second of the two Kaldheim Commander decks. This is Elven Empire. Just flip it over. See what we have on the back here. Choose your commander and overcome both friend and foe in this definitive multiplayer Magic format. Team up with Lathril and lead an army of elves to absolute victory. Grow your army to a massive scale and even the mightiest rivals will fall before you. Lathril, Blade of the Elves. Hailing from a time before the wood and shadow elves were split apart, Lathril represents the glory that the elves hope to return to. She was a natural leader and master tactician whose prowess ensured that her people held on to power. So 100 card deck with 8 new cards. We have a deck box, 10 double-sided token cards, a life wheel, a strategy insert and a reference guide. And there is a single foil in here and that is the lead card. This is a black-green deck, so it'd be interesting to see what other legendaries they have in here. Unlike the yearly commander products, there isn't really an alternate commander in here as such. We may find on colour legends, both in the two colours and single colours, which would allow us to build other decks with the addition of the appropriate synergy cards. So here's our rather flimsy deck box, but as I've mentioned before, the good news is you can get the deck in here sleeved. So here's our very simple learn to play insert. So just the real basics are in here. And a little bit of a sort of backstory to the commander. Here's our life wheel. So you can see here we've got 40 down to 21 on one side and then 20 down to 1 on the other. As I did with the other deck, I'm pretty much going to go through all of this actually. Okay, you can see the foily goodness there. Okay, so first up we have the commander, so Lathril, Blade of the Elves, 2 black-green, legendary creature, Elf Noble. It's a 2/3 with menace. So this is where we pay particular attention to the rules on here, because that's going to give us some indication of what sort of synergies the deck is playing to, and certain cards we need to look out for that really promote those synergies. Whenever Lathril, Blade of the Elves, deals combat damage to a player, create that many 1/1 green elf warrior creature tokens. Tap 10 untapped elves you control. Each opponent loses 10 life and you gain 10 life. So we've got token generation from this card, which happens when Lathril deals combat damage, and they're 1/1 green elf warrior creature tokens. So it'd be interesting to see if anything else in the deck is generating similar tokens. Also, we have this life loss, life gain going on here, and we have to tap elves to do that. So it'll be interesting to see if there's any other exchange of life cards or any cards that synergize with opponents losing life or you gaining life. So let's see what we can find. So 3 and a black, ambitions cost, you draw 3 cards and you lose 3 life. That's a sorcery. Eye Blight colours, 4 and a black, 3/3 creature elf warrior. When Eye Blight colours dies, create 3 1/1 green elf warrior creature tokens, then mill 3 cards. Eye Blight Massacre, 2 and 2 black, sorcery, non-elf creatures get -2/-2 until end of turn. Liz Alana Scarblade, 2 and a black, creature elf assassin, it's 1/1, tap, discard an elf card, target creature gets -X/-X until end of turn, where X is the number of elves you control. So of course with Lathril's ability, quite dependent on the number of elves you have at your disposal. No surprise that we're probably going to see this as a black-green elf tribal deck as well. So we have our first legend here apart from Lathril. So this is Maria Thorn of the Glade, 1 and a black, legendary creature elf scout. It's actually an uncommon. Whenever Myara Thorn of the Glade or another elf you control dies, you may pay 1 and 1 life. If you do draw a card, it's a 1/2, and it does have partner on it, so you can have 2 commanders if both have partner. Pride of the Perfect, 3 and a black enchantment. Elves you control get +2/+0, so no surprise to see something that plays on the fact that this is an elf deck. Prowess of the Fair, 1 and a black, tribal enchantment elf. Whenever another non-token elf is put into your graveyard from the battlefield, you may create a 1/1 green elf warrior creature token, so more tokens. Elvish Mystic. Yep, so I wonder when we were going to see some Elvish Mana Dorks. Single green creature elf druid, tap, add green, and it's a 1/1. Elvish Promenade, 3 and a green tribal sorcery elf, create 1/1 green elf warrior creature tokens for each elf you control. Elfish Rejuvenation, 2 and a green creature elf druids, 1/1. When Elvish Rejuvenation enters the battlefield, look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may put a land card from among them onto the battlefield tap, put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Farhaven Elf, 2 and a green creature elf druid, it's 1/1. When Farhaven Elf enters the battlefield, you may search your library for a basic land card, put it onto the battlefield tap, then shuffle your library. Jagged Scar Archers, 1 and 2 green star creature elf archer. Jagged Scar Archers' power and toughness are each equal to the number of elves you control. Tap. Jagged Scar Archers deals damage equal to its power to target creature with flying. Llanowar Tribe, 3 green to cast. It's a 3/3 creature elf druid and taps for 3 mana. This Alana Huntmaster, 2 and 2 green creature elf warrior. It's a 3/3. Whenever you cast an elf spell, you may create a 1/1 green elf creature token. One thing I'll bring up, and I did bring this up in the other deck, you'll notice in the bottom corner, well, in addition to the set symbol, which you might see actually change, in the bottom corner there's the code for the commander product, so KHC, that's Kaldheim commander. You may see on some of these cards, for cards that are in Kaldheim, because of course a lot of this deck is going to be reprints and some completely new cards that aren't in Kaldheim. But for the ones that aren't specifically in Kaldheim, you will see this KHC, and then for those that are in Kaldheim, you'll see a different set logo and a different set code as well. Null Mage Shepherd, 3 and a green, a creature elf shaman. It's a 2/4, tap 4 untapped creatures you control, destroy target artifact or enchantment. So another legend here, Numa Jorga Chieftain, 2 and a green, legendary creature elf warrior, 2/2. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you may pay XX. When you do, distribute X/1/1 counters among any number of target elves. It's got partner, so you could partner this with the black car, the black legendary creature we've already seen, and build a different deck, which would looks like it probably would still be elf tribal, but maybe it would play to a different set of synergies than Lathril, and so require a different set of cards. Reclamation Sage, 2 and a green, creature elf shaman. It's a 2/1. When Reclamation Sage enters the battlefield, you may destroy target artifact or enchantment. Springbloom Druid, 2 and a green, creature elf druid, is 1/1. When Springbloom Druid enters the battlefield, you may sacrifice a land. If you do, search your library for up to 2 basic land cards, put them onto the battlefield, tap, then shuffle your library. Sylvan Messenger, 3 and a green, 2/2, creature elf with trample. When Sylvan Messenger enters the battlefield, reveal the top 4 cards of your library. Put all elf cards revealed this way into your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. Timberwatch Elf, 2 and a green, creature elf, tap, target creature gets +X/+X until end of turn, where X is the number of elves on the battlefield. Voice of Many, 2 and 2 green, 3/3, creature elf druid. When Voice of Many enters the battlefield, draw a card for each opponent who controls fewer creatures than you. Wildwood Channeler, 3 and a green, 2/2, creature elf druid. Tap, add X mana of any one colour, where X is the number of elves on your battlefield. Wood Elves, 2 and a green, 1/1, creature elf scout. When Wood Elves enters the battlefield, search your library for a forest card, then put that card onto the battlefield, then shuffle your library. Another legendary creature, and this is black-green, so Abomination of Lanoir, 1 black-green legendary creature elf horror with vigilance and menace. So this creature can't be blocked except by 2 or more creatures. And that's the reminder text for the menace. Obviously for vigilance, the card doesn't tap when attacking. Abomination of Lanoir power and toughness are each equal to the number of elves you control, plus the number of elf cards in your graveyard, and that's that's a star there. Golgari Find Broker, 2 black, 2 green, creature elf shaman, 3/4. When Golgari Find Broker enters the battlefield, return target permanent card from your graveyard to your hand. Moldavine Reclamation, 3 black-green enchantment. Whenever a creature you control dies, you gain 1 life and draw a card. Piston Tip Archer, 2 black-green, creature elf archer with reach and death touch. Whenever another creature dies, each opponent loses 1 life. Putrefy is in here, 1 black-green, instant, destroy target artifact or creature, it can't be regenerated. Shaman of the Pack. 1 black green creature elf shaman. 3/2. When Shaman of the Pack enters the battlefield, target opponent loses life equal to the number of elves you control. Pact of the Serpent. So we're moving on to our rares by the looks of things. 1 black sorcery. Choose a creature type. Target player draws X cards and loses X life, where X is the number of creatures they control of the chosen type. Ruthless Winnower. 3 and 2 black. Creature elf rogues. 4/4. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player sacrifices a non-elf creature. Serpent Souljar. 2 and a black. Whenever an elf you control dies, this is an artifact, exile it. Tap, pay 2 life. Until end of turn, you may cast a creature spell from among cards exiled with Serpent Souljar. Bounty of Skemfar. 2 and a green. Sorcery. Reveal the top 6 cards of your library. You may put a land card from among them onto the battlefield tapped, and an elf card from among them into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Canopy Tactician. So you can, here we go. So this is actually a Kaldheim card. So KHM. 3 and a green, creature elf warrior. Other elves you control get +1/+1. Tap, add 3 green. So 3/3. Crown of Skemfar. 2 and 2 green, enchantment aura. Enchant creature. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1 for each elf you control and has reach. 2 and a green, returns Crown of Skemfar from your graveyard to your hand. Wolverine Riders. 4 and 2 greens. 4/4. Creature elf warrior. At the beginning of each upkeep, create a 1/1 green elf warrior creature token. Whenever another elf enters the battlefield under your control, you gain life equal to its toughness. Elderfang Venom. 2 black green. Attacking elves you control have death touch. Whenever an elf you control dies, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. Okay. Beast Whisperer. 2 and 2 green, 2/3 creature elf druid. Whenever you cast a creature spell, draw a card. Cultivator of Blades. 2 green, 1/1 creature elf artificer. Fabricate 2. When this creature enters the battlefield, put 2 1/1 counters on it, or create 2 1/1 colorless servo artifact creature tokens. Whenever Cultivator of Blades attacks, you may have other attacking creatures get +X/+X until end of turn, where X is Cultivator of Blades power. Okay. Dwynen Giltleaf Dane. 2 and 2 green. Legendary creature elf warrior. So we've got a legendary in green. Reach. Other elf creatures you control get +1/+1. Whenever Dwynen Giltleaf Dane attacks, you gain 1 life for each attacking elf you control. Elvish Archdruid. 1 and 2 green. 2/2 creature elf druid. Other elf creatures you control get +1/+1. Tap, add green for each elf you control. End Raise Forerunners. 5 and 3 green for a 7/7 creature boar. Vigilance, Trample and Haste. When End Raise Forerunners enter the battlefield, other creatures you control get +2/+2 and gain Vigilance and Trample until end of turn. Harvest Season. 2 and a green sorcery. Search your library for up to X basic land cards, where X is the number of tapped creatures you control, and put those cards onto the battlefield tapped. Then shuffle your library. I wonder if this is going to be in here. Imperious Perfect. 2 and a green, 2/2, creature elf warrior. Other elf creatures you control get +1/+1. Green, tap. Create a 1/1 green elf warrior creature token. Marwyn the Nurturer. 2 and a green, 1/1 legendary creature elf druid. Whenever another elf enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on Marwyn the Nurturer. Tap, add an amount of green mana equal to Marwyn's power. So another legend there. Masked Admirers. 2 and 2 green. Creature elf shaman. When Masked Admirers enters the battlefield, draw a card. Whenever you cast a creature spell, you may pay 2 green. If you do, return Masked Admirers from your graveyard to your hand, and it's a 3/2. Reese the Exiled. 2 and a green, 3/2 legendary creature elf warrior. Whenever Reese the Exiled attacks, you gain 1 life for each elf you control. Single black, sacrifice an elf, regenerate Reese the Exiled. I can't remember if I've ever built a deck around that or not. Voice of the Woods. 3 and 2 green, 2/2 creature elf. Tap 5 untapped elves you control. Create a 1/1 green elemental creature token with trample. So I wondered how many other cards we were going to see that would you'd ever be able to leverage elves by tapping them. Very similar to the commander Lathril. So this is one of them. Let's see if we got any more. Casualties of War. 2 and 2 black, 2 green sorcery. Choose 1 or more. So super modal here. Destroy target artifact. Destroy target creature. Destroy target enchantment, destroy target land, destroy target planeswalker. So you can pick any one of those or more, do all of them. Twin Blade Assassins. 3 black, green. Creature elf assassin. It's a 5/4. At the beginning of your end step, if a creature died this turn, draw a card. Arcane Signet. Yep, no surprise to see this turning up in Commander product now. 2 to cast, tap, add 1 mana of any colour in your commander's identity. We've got a Soul Ring. It's in everything, well, in every Commander product. Single colourless, tap, add 2 colourless, single colour of any mana to cast, and then tap 2 colourless. Tap to add 2 colours. Few command towers in here. Tap, add 1 mana of any colour in your commander's colour identity. Okay, Foul Orchard. So I suspect we're going to see the usual suspects in terms of black-green mana generation. So this enters the battlefield tapped. Oh, surprise, surprise, we've got a Guildgate. So we've got the on-colour Guildgate here. Again, enters the battle tapped. And taps for black or green. And a Golgari Rot Farm. So enters the battlefield tapped. When it enters the battlefield, you do have to bounce a land back to your hand, but once things have sorted themselves out, and you can tap this, tap, add black and green. Jungle Hollow. So it's a life land, enters the battlefield tapped. When Jungle Hollow enters the battlefield, you gain 1 life. Tap black or green. Myriad Landscape. Yeah, this is in a number of commander decks. Myriad Landscape enters the battlefield tapped. Tap, add colourless mana. 2 mana of any colour. Tap, sacrifice Myriad Landscape. Search your library for up to 2 basic land cards that share a land type. Put them onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle your library. Path of Ancestry. So enters the battlefield tapped. Tap, add 1 mana of any colour in your commander's colour identity. When that mana is spent to cast a creature spell that shares a creature type with your commander, scry 1. So obviously very effective in tribal commander. And now we move on to our land base. So this is using the Kaldheim land artwork. So we've got our swamps. And as I pointed out, both in the unboxing of the bundle and the previous commander deck, yep, it's all the same artwork for the various mana types. So each colour of mana has one piece of artwork. So we have a rather eerie looking tree and tree stump in a sort of swampy area and a river. It's interesting. It looks like somewhere near to where I live, sort of around winter time. Well, of course there'd be more snow on the ground, but yeah, that's funny. Actually, it looks very similar to out back on one of the trails. So we've got forest now. And again pulls its artwork from Kaldheim. Okay, just going to put those off to one side for the moment. Right, moving on. So we've got some more non-lands here. Elderfang Ritualist, 2 and a black, 3/1 creature elf cleric. When Elderfang Ritualist dies, return another target elf card from your graveyard to your hand. Poison the Cup, 1 and 2 black, instant, destroy target creature. If this spell was foretold, scry 2, foretell 1 and a black during your turn, you may pay 2 and exile this card from your hand. Face down, cast it on a later turn for its foretell cost. And you can see we've got more Kaldheim cards here. Return upon the tide, 4 and a black, sorcery, return target creature card from a graveyard to the battlefield. If it's an elf, create 2/1/1 green elf warrior creature tokens. This has got foretell 3 and a black. During your turn you may pay 2 and exile this card from your hand face down. Cast it on its later turn for its foretell cost. Skemfar Shadow Mage. When Skemfar Shadow Mage enters the battlefield, choose 1. So 2. This is a 2/5. So your choices are: each opponent loses X life, where X is the greatest number of creatures you control that have a creature type in common. You gain X life, where X is the greatest number of creatures you control that have a creature type in common. I was going to say Turgids. Turgrid's Shadow, 3 and 2 black, instant. Each player sacrifices 2 creatures, foretell for 2 and 2 black. Elven Ambush, 3 and a green, instant. Create a 1/1 green elf warrior creature token for each elf you control. Jaspera Sentinel, single green, 1/2 creature elf rogue, reach, tap and untap creature you control, add 1 mana of any colour. Roots of Wisdom, 1 and a green, sorcery, mill 3 cards, then return a land card or elf card from your graveyard to your hand. If you can't, draw a card. Building the Old Gods, 3 black green. As this saga enters and after you draw your draw step, add a law counter, sacrifice after 3. So 1 law counter. Destroy target non-land permanent and opponent controls. Second law counter, search your library for a forest card, put it onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle your library. Third law counter, creatures you control gain death touch until end of turn. So we seem to have a death touch theme going on in here as well. A few of the cards we've seen so far have that. And some menace stuff, as we can see here. Seen a few cards with menace. Harold, King of Skemfar, 1 black green, 3/2 legendary creature elf warrior. So we've got another on colour for the whole deck. Legend has menace, as I've mentioned already. When Harold, King of Skemfar, enters the battlefield, look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may reveal an elf warrior or Tyvar card from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Skemfar Elder Hall. So I've got some non-basic land here from the Kaldheim set. So enters the battlefield, tap to add green, two black and a green. Sacrifice Skemfar Elder Hall. Up to one target creature you don't control gets -2/-2 until end of turn. Create 2/1/1 green elf warrior creature tokens. Activate this ability only anytime you could cast a sorcery. I suspect in our and now we're moving on to our tokens. We're going to see quite a few elf tokens here. So we've got that elemental, which is one of the cards generates that through, I think, tapping elves. Elemental and an elf warrior. Yeah, let me see where this is going to go. I think I know already. Elemental and an elf warrior. Elemental and an elf warrior. Oh, elemental elf warrior. Elemental elf warrior. Elemental elf warrior. Oh yeah, there was something generating servos, wasn't there? So I got servo and an elf warrior. Servo and an elf warrior. Another servo. Another elf warrior. Another servo and another elf warrior, and finally our popular Magic formats card, and an on your turn reminder of how turns work in Magic. Okay, so that's a pretty interesting elf tribal deck. That could get out of control. Both of these decks, yeah, they're very interesting. The first of these, what would you call? So 2020 we saw Commander decks really released as the pre-con to the sets. That's the best way to think about it, I suppose. And initially, they were good decks, but they seemed, obviously, compared to the regular Commander product, power-wise, out of a lower power. These two recent decks, you'll notice that they've upped the number of cards that are unique to this deck. In the previous decks, there'd only been about 2 or 3, if that, maybe 3. What are they saying? 10 in this. Obviously, elf tribal, which is part, the main thrust of this deck, I suppose. You're going to see a lot of sort of classic elf tribal cards in here, which are known to be, incredibly synergistic. And so, that's a real interesting deck, and headed up by Lathril, Blade of the Elves. So 2 black green 2/3 legendary creature, elf noble with menace. Whenever Lathril, Blade of the Elves, deals combat damage to a player, create that many 1/1 green elf warrior creature tokens. Tap, add 10 untapped elves you control. Each opponent loses 10 life and you gain 10 life. I'm not sure how many cards we saw which played to that sort of life exchange. I'm trying to even remember the keyword for that. And I know in previous sets, we've seen that in black, and yeah, that's I'm gonna have to do a bit of research on that. I'd be curious to what colours that spills over into, because I seem to remember there's several cards in, like 2 colour cards, but I think it's black white. That's a thing. Can you comment in the sections if you can remember what the key word is for that, where there's a exchange of life beyond the usual term life gain? I'm sure there's a term for that, and it's just gone from my head. Anyway, thanks for watching. Bye for now.